Hey everybody, it's Ron Jackson. Hope you can see me okay because I have like a few different camera angles and things like that. So I'm going to be talking about my guitar amps that I own, and this is like a comparison video, live stream actually. I'm actually live right now on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Please follow me and share my live stream with everybody you know. So I have two different camera angles actually on YouTube, just so you can actually see my amps that I'm using. In back on. So let me go to settings. Let me go to settings real quick and set up this camera and make sure it's back on. Here we go. I'm putting it back on so you guys can see it. Good. And then make sure the audio is back on too as well. Yes, it is. So we're back online with this camera. So now you can see me here. I moved the camera a little bit and messed it up. I don't know how. So anyway, I'm back on this camera. So if there's any questions, let me know. Hey, bro, lost your sound. I can hear you now. Cool. Good. Yeah, I'm back online, guys. Sorry about that. So I'm actually gonna demo my different amplifiers. Okay. And I'm not gonna touch this one camera. This camera right here, I'm moving right here. That you see, I'm going to be showing you the amp I'm using. So I'm going to be showing you about 6 different amps today, and the advantages of having certain amps and why I use them. Okay, so so I'm going to be using my D'Angelico XL Premier XL. Well, it's actually the XL1 guitar that I got from D'Angelico. It's a great sounding guitar. So I'm using this guitar through my Supro Royale amplifier. Oh yeah, hey, thank you. I can't say your name, Nubum. I can't see. I can't read your name too well. But thank you for watching. So look, I'm using a Supro Royale amp right down here. Take a look at this thing. I'm gonna move my guitar. So this is the first amp we're gonna check out today. Okay, it's a great guitar amp. Let me go down to over here. My pod is making a little bit of noise on my guitar, so don't worry about that. So this amp is a great amp. If I look on the computer here, this amp on Amazon, you can go to my store. There's links actually in the in the discussion here. This amp weighs about 63 pounds. Okay, it's a pretty heavy amp. Really heavy amp, okay? Can you see that over there? TikTok, see the amp? So this is a Supro. Let me put it on standby. It's a really great amp, everybody. Take a look. And it's my favorite amp, actually. Now, the advantage of tube amps is this. Tube amps are great because they have a warm sound. A lot of rockers use them, Marshalls and stuff, and they overdrive the amp. Now, this amp is made to be played clean. Okay, this particular amp, you see this, everybody? So this is a Supro. It looks small on the camera, but this is actually 63 pounds. This amp has 2 full speakers. Okay, it lists on it's called the Supro Royale, Supro 1933R Royale 50-watt 2x-inch tube combo amp. It's a great amp. I've taken this to gigs, and the problem, but I love tube amps. They're my favorite amps actually. But there's advantages and disadvantages I want to talk to you about. Okay, first, the advantage is this: the sound is amazing. I love the sound of tube amps. They're the best sound. That's a crazy. How heavy is it? So just so you know, this weighs 63 pounds. Let me look at the description here. Okay, there's some descriptions here. I'm going to look at the description and tell you how much it weighs. It's pretty heavy, man. Pretty heavy. And let me see if I can find a description here. So, yeah, it's 50 watts and it weighs 63 pounds. Okay, it has 2 full speakers. It has a boost. If you could take a look, see that? It has a boost, etc. Okay, very great amp. Okay, everybody. But the only problem is, let me see if I can angle that camera better so you can see it. It's just hard to move this thing. The thing is, it's that the problem is it really weighs a lot. So I played recently in New York City at the Zinc Bar in New York City on July 10th, and then I played in Jamaica after that. But then after that, I played in Teaneck, New Jersey at the Puffin Center. I brought this to Zinc Bar in New York City. It was so hard to, you don't want to roll this on the ground because it is so heavy that it'll shake the tubes and break them. And it's a really fragile amp. These tube amps are really fragile. But I love this amp. I got it directly from D'Angelico. They own Supro amps. This is my favorite amp, okay? Now, I love twin reverbs as well, but this is a monster to carry around. That's the disadvantage of having a tube amp. The sound is amazing, but the tubes, the amp itself, the construction is so heavy, okay? But it just sounds amazing, man. It just sounds a warm. Let me play it for you a little bit. So I have my little D'Angelico here. Let me turn the standby on. So if you don't turn it, for example, there's a standby switch here that you can see, and this switch right here is you have to turn it on and off before you play because it keeps the tubes going down. So and the reverb is tube as well. So I don't even have this up. I have this up halfway. It has a boost even. But see how listen how deep that reverb is. I'll turn the reverb up higher a little bit. Listen to this. That's a tube reverb sound. Let me see if I can turn it down a little bit. There's a little problem with my tone control. My volume control is making noise. It's too much reverb to me. But that's a deep spring reverb, but real tube reverb. So this has a bunch of tubes in it. When I first got the amp, there was a problem with it in the beginning because just transporting it from the company, the warehouse, just to my own apartment, man, the amp, like the tubes got shaken out and the amp didn't work. I was like, uh-oh. So I actually had this amp for a while, but didn't want to deal with the tubes because I don't like pulling those glass things out, maybe cutting myself. But I mean, it sounds incredible. Listen to the depth of that reverb. Let me turn it all the way up. So that's a really deep reverb, everybody. Really deep, too deep. So I don't have my reverb that high because it sounds like you're like swimming underwater. But it's a great sounding, reverb, obviously. And it's all tubes. So the warmth of a tube amp is amazing. So you can look on my if you're watching on YouTube, right now or Facebook, just go to my, to the link on my bio. You can check out the amp on Amazon. So I'm going to turn up the volume control is kind of messed up, but listen to this. So I'm going to turn the reverb, the treble down a little bit. It sounds really great, this amp. So I'm playing that really soft. It's actually probably pretty loud through the speakers here, but it's a great amp. So this is a Supro Royale amp. If you have any questions, please send them to me or comments. I see that Poor Vita is doing has comments, but so this is a 50-watt tube amp. The speakers are 12 inches. It comes with some kind of proprietary Supro speakers. Okay, it has only one channel. It's a great amp. I mean, amazing amp. It lists on Amazon. If you go to my Amazon link there, on my Amazon store, which you can follow at Amazon.com/Ron Jackson Music, /shop/Ron Jackson Music. You can check it out, and it lists for $1,700, but it's worth the money. But it's heavy. So you hear that? It sounds great. But the reverb is too much for me. I got to turn it down. I don't like that much reverb. There's a really deep spring reverb, all tubes. So it's amazing. It's an amazing amp. So check it out. The Supro Royale 50-watt, 2x12-inch combo amp, but weighs 62, 63 pounds. And you can put wheels on it, but it's better to put it on the dolly and not carry this heavy thing. It's so heavy that I almost broke my back. Even though I work out and stuff, this thing's still too heavy just to wheel. You don't want to wheel it too much because it will break. And that's the disadvantage of having a tube amp. So let me keep continuing. Hey, I got a PV Trans. Someone says they got a PV Trans Tube Series Bandit 112. It's a fake tube amp with transistors, and it doesn't hold a candle to your amp. Good rock and blues amp. I paid $150. So you know what? Just so you know, Mr. Porvita, just so you know, I realize what a good equipment when you're performing. Whenever you do a gig and you want to be a professional musician, you get what you pay for. So this amp is really worth it. If you want, you have to get good quality equipment if you want to perform out live. So this amp is really worth it. I mean, I endorse these amps, but they are amazing amps. They sound great. I wouldn't endorse something that doesn't sound great. So I used to get cheap tube amps like Bugaras, but you really get what you pay for, unfortunately. So this amp is really worth your money, guys. So it's pretty heavy, but it's a beast. But there's a smaller version which I have. I'm going to show you in a minute. And but this is worth your money. All good amps cost over $1,000 at least. And all my amps today I'm showing you cost at least that much. And you want good quality, you have to pay for it. Especially even with guitars. You have to really, you get what you pay for it. That's what I say. So let me continue now. So I'm going to show you another amp. Let me see if there's any questions here or comments on TikTok, because I know people are watching me on TikTok, but I haven't talked to you guys much today. If you're on TikTok, guys, make sure you share my live stream and or, follow me at Ron Jackson Music everywhere, everybody. Please follow me if you can. And share my live stream particularly. If you want to give gifts or anything like that, you could just do that you can also subscribe to my lives when I go now. And you can subscribe to me on YouTube and, and gift also on Facebook. So let me continue. So let me unplug this amp, okay? I'm going to take out, sorry about the noise from my pot on my guitar. I got to get some WD-40. So I'm going to put this amp away, everybody. The Supro Royale here, this great amp. I'm going to turn it off. Now, one time I left this on all day, man, and it's not good to leave your tube amp out. That's how you burn out your tubes too. And you want those to last, because the problem with also the disadvantage of having a tube amp is that every couple of years you have to spend at least, I had to spend myself at least $200 or $300 just getting it fixed. So it's an expense, that costs more than some cheap amps to fix. So what I usually do is I don't like to take this out too much and use it. I'll use it once in a while. So we're going to go over those transistor amps soon that are on my list here. So you can just go down the list and check them out while I'm talking on Amazon. So this is a great amp, okay? And I'll leave it at home most of the time, and I won't even play it when I'm teaching students and stuff. I'll just leave it, because the more you use a tube amp, the more likely the tubes are going to burn out on you, and you have to pay $200 or $300 to get them fixed. And and try to put the tubes in, and might cut yourself trying to put the tube in if the glass breaks, which hasn't happened to me yet. Or take it to the shop, because I don't like working on this kind of stuff. So I'm going to unplug this now, and I'm going to show you my other tube amp by Supro. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here. Take the cable out and move this over. See, I'm going to break my back just moving it. Watch this. Oh my God. So I have another Supro amp. It's right over here, everybody. So take a look at this. It's the Supro. Let me look at this on my computer so I can tell you what it is, what it's about. It's the Supro. It's the Supro 1-inch, 1 by 12 inch. Look at this. Here it is. I'll put it right here. You should be able to see that. It's a smaller one. You see it compared to this one? I think it weighs maybe about 30 something pounds. It's the same wattage. It's 50 watts, but I think it weighs about 35 pounds, 40 pounds. It's still pretty heavy. Look, it's not that bad though. You can deal with this. It's a great amp. It's called the Supro 1932R Royale 50 watt 1-inch 1 times 12-inch tube combo amp, and it's the same setup, basically the same setup. The tone and volume controls are the same. You see, as both amps, if you can see that. And basically it has the same setup. It only has one input. Let me plug it in. I'm going to get the power cable and throw it in the back here. And it's a really great amp too. Let me see. I gotta find where the cable thing is. Here it is. So I like the cable things. You can take them out. You don't leave them in the amp. I don't like when the cable. You could keep the cable in the amp. Let me see. Let me find it. This is the hardest part. So I'm gonna plug that in. Uh-oh. Here it is. 1 second. You put it down. I found it. Here it is. So I'm going to plug this in. Now I'm going to turn it on. Keep it on standby. Because if you don't put it on standby, it'll make a noise. So it's on standby. So actually, when you put this on too, I don't know what they mean exactly, but there's a Class A and a Class A B setting on the amp. So that makes it a little bit, I guess it's a little slightly different sound. I haven't really experimented with that. Let me see some of the comments. I'm going to plug this in right now to my D'Angelico guitar here, which, D'Angelico owns Supro. It's the same company, everybody, just so you know. And I got it directly from D'Angelico, these amps. These are great. So let me turn this on. So, same amp, a smaller version, okay? And that goes for $14.99 on, and that's the going price for this amp. But it sounds great too. It's really powerful too. It just has one speaker. The reason why I use 2 speakers usually is because I like the fullness of 2 speakers. I don't play particularly louder, but I like the fullness. So if you have any questions, please send them to me. Now let me look on. Let me see what guitar. Is that a 7-string guitar? I thought I saw you playing a 7-string guitar once. Yeah, I do play 7-string. Actually, I can plug my 7-string in. I just thought it was easier just to play my 6-string today. But I play 7-string and 6-string guitar. So remember, when you play 7-string, you still play 6-string, everybody. So it's just the other way around that can be difficult. If you play 6-string, you can't really play 7-string. No, I'm just using this today just to demo the amps. Mr. Porvida. I can't say your name too well. So yeah, so I'm basically using. So you hear this amp now? It's the same amp. It has a different sound to me because it's not as full, but it still sounds good. See, so that reverb is really deep, but I love the sound of tube amps. They're amazing, don't they? Don't they sound great? Let me see what's going on here on TikTok. So I don't understand why I don't see any messages on my TikTok. But anyway, I usually get messages all the time. So yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody. The little brother, yep, he's a little brother, everybody. This little amp is really great. And so this is a warm Supro tube amp. So check the link out on the description so you can check the amp out. Let me play a song for you guys on this. This is 6-string guitar. Let me turn the reverb down low. It's too much to me. Turn it down a little bit. So yeah, I'm using this amp right here. reverb is really deep on this amp, man. It's amazing. Your 6-string is great, man. Oh, thank you. So the speaker, this is a 1-speaker amp, everybody. So we're doing an amp demo here. This is a 1-speaker amp, okay? And it's a really great amp. And so, you know, check it out. It's on my Amazon store at amazon.com/shop/Ron Jackson Music. It goes for $1,500 basically, but it weighs half the size of this amp. Okay, and it's a really great amp, man. I mean, these amps are amazing. I won't take it out much to a gig because they break easily. So that's the advantage of having a tube amp is that you can actually have it has a great warm sound. It's the best sound to me. Tubes, you know, tube amps. I get the guitar amplifier started as tubes, you know, as tubes, and then transistors showed up later. I'm not sure exactly the year, but you know, transistor amps are getting great. I'm going to show you a couple of transistor amps in a few minutes. You know, during this, I'm going to show you one more tube amp that I own. So, you know, definitely check out the Supro Royale 1932R Royale 50-watt 1x1 tube amp. Okay, and it's amazing. I got to get one thing, guys. I need to plug in my oh yeah, here it is. I gotta plug in my phone here. I need the cable though, honey. Honey, I need to get my cable for the phone so my phone don't die when I'm teaching you guys, when I'm showing you guys. Let me see if it's over here. Oh, okay. No, I don't know where it is. Let me see. So anyway, take one from the from the room over there. So let me continue with the next amp, everybody. We're going to take a look at the other tube amp I have. Oh, see, look, when I forgot to turn the standby off, everybody. Okay, and what happened was it made a noise. You see that? Yeah. So no, the other one, not the iPhone. It's over there. There's another one over there. So look at this. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn the tube amp off. And I turn the standby off because if you don't turn the standby off, what will happen is I turn the standby off, which is right here. Because if you don't, it'll make a noise. So that's another problem with tube amps. They're really finicky. So let me get this other tube amp that I have out right now. It's my Fender tube amp. So I got to put my guitar down because it's too heavy. Yeah, so I'm gonna plug my phone in because it's just it's gonna die on me if I don't plug it in. You know, so let me do this right now. I'll show you. Oh, okay, hold on. Uh-oh. This is weird. Let me see. Oh, let me do this right now. I'm gonna plug this in right now. So if there's any questions, please send them to me. As soon as you can, I'm going to plug this phone in. Yeah, it's working. So now, let me show you my other amp. This is going to be this, it's a Hot Rod Deluxe, okay? And let me show you this. I'm going to move this out of the way because this thing is pretty heavy. First, I'll move the Hot Rod Deluxe over here. And I'm going to move this out of the way. Now that's a backbreaker, even though it's lighter. So look. So here's a Hot Rod Deluxe. Now this is an old amp, everybody. Let me show you. This is a Hot Rod Deluxe. See the tubes here? Now this amp I've had for 20 years. And it comes with a cable built in the back, you see. Now it weighs, I think, 40-something pounds. Let me see how many pounds. It's pretty heavy, but it's a great amp. You know, I've had this for years. And they go for about, they used to go for cheaper, but they go for about $1,000 now on Amazon. So check it out. So let me plug it in. I have to use a different cable for this one. Some amps come without a cable. You have to put it in, which that means if you forget your cable, you're in trouble. So I haven't played this in a while. So let's see what happens. So I plugged this in. That's the problem with tube amps. Amp, okay. What'll happen is if you don't play it for a while, so it works. It's on. Let's see if it actually works. So the problem with this amp is every time, this is a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe amp. It's a great amp, man. It has 2 inputs. It has all the basic stuff. You could overdrive this amp and it sounds amazing. The other amp, you couldn't do that. Okay. So, and it has, reverb. Now, the problem with this amp is I had to cut the reverb. It always was breaking on me. And, when you move a tube amp around a lot, the reverb will go. That's the problem. Because I think it's tube reverb. I'm not quite sure why this amp, the reverb will go out all the time, but I just cut the reverb. I told my guitar repairman in Brooklyn, cut the reverb, man. I can't do it. I'll use a pedal for the reverb. It's a Fender. It's actually made by Boss. It's a Fender twin reverb, or reverb or deluxe reverb pedal. So it sounds just like the reverb in here, because every time you get the reverb fixed, it will cost you a couple $100. And then change the tubes, then you have a $300 or $400 bill. So that's the reason. That's the disadvantage of having a tube amp. But they sound great. So let me see if this amp still works, everybody. So we're going to do a little experiment right now, and hope you guys can see me well. So I'm going to plug this in. It works. Woo! Just been sitting in my closet. Now, the reason why I had it sitting in my closet is because I didn't want to take this thing out too much because it always would break. So I decided to keep it at home. So you see this? That's what it looks like. It has a lot of stickers on it. It's about 20 years old, but it's a great amp, man. I've had this for years. You hear that? And tube amps have this, like, sometimes it sounds like it distorts on you. And things like that, but it's not. It's just a tubes breaking up on you. I love this amp. It actually sounds amazing still. You hear that? You hear that amp? It sounds really amazing still. So it sounds really good, this amp. So you hear how good this amp sounds really good. This is my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. Check it out on my Amazon link there. It's a great amp, and it still sounds great to me. I mean, I love it. Compared to the Supro, it sounds great to me too. It just has a different sound. But I've had this for years. You know how many times I spent thousands of dollars fixing this over the years for 20 years because it's a tube amp. And the problem with tube amps, they sound amazing, but you can't, you know, but you always have to fix them. That's the problem. The tubes break every couple of years, especially if you use them all the time. I would carry this amp all over the place, leave it, you know, put it in the car, drive it around, and then next thing you know, the tubes don't work. So that's the disadvantage of having a tube amp. So this is a great amp. So that's a Hot Rod Deluxe amp, and it's black, and it weighs about, I think about 35, 40 pounds. It's not that bad, you know. It's about the same weight as the Supro amp I showed you a minute ago. But it's a great amp, you know. It's amazing, and it's just been sitting in my closet. So it's a good backup amp. It sounds great, actually, I think. But there's no reverb. I cut the reverb, everybody, because the reverb would always break, like I said. So that's the advantage of having a tube amp. It's warm. It sounds amazing. It's the best sound to me. But the problem is the weight, and the tubes itself. The maintenance is the disadvantage with these tube amps. Okay, and the reverb is cut on this because it will always break, and it's the cost of maintenance that's the problem with the tube amps. But to me, they're the best sounding amps you can get. You know, and of course, you know, the price is expensive, but I'm going to go into transistor amps now. Transistor amps are expensive too. And so when we start looking at that, we're going to look at that now. Okay, so let me switch guitars. I'm going to turn this off. I'll turn the standby off first, then turn off the switch for this. Hey. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Let me see. Someone had a great comment here. I don't know what that meant. Oh, yeah. Cool. Thank you for the cool comment. Let me see what this is going on here. I'm trying to figure out why my TikTok's kind of weird and I can't see my comments. Maybe I have them disabled or something. Or there's a way. I got to see what's going on. But also on TikTok, everybody, you know, I'm doing like this thing where I have subscriber goals or whatever. I haven't been on TikTok too much. Someone gave me some global superstars. Thank you, whatever that means. So I'm getting all these stars and stuff on TikTok, but I never know what's going on. So I got to look into that. Even though I have the most subscribers on TikTok too. So let me move this amp, okay? We're going to move this amp over here. Now, this is a tube amp, so it's heavy. I'm going to move this over here, you know, and I'm going to unplug it because it's a tube amp, and this one has a direct cable built in. And it's a great heavy-duty cable. You see this really heavy-duty. And it's a great amp, man. Amazing amp. So I showed you 2 amps already. 3 amps. 2 Supro amps. 2 Supro Royale amps. 1, you know, the Supro Royale with 2 12s, and the one with single, the same kind of setup, basically. But it has, the other one has 1 speaker. And they both sound amazing. So let me go into like to the transistor amp. So let's look at this. Let's look at the big boy over here. So look at this. Now look at this. Okay, I have the Fender Tone Master. Let me look into this now. I'm going to go and look at the actual specs of this on Amazon. So we're going to look at the Fender Tone Master twin reverb. So look at this. Look at this. Now, tell me when you see the difference here. Watch this. Look at this. What's the difference now? Look what I just did. I just picked this up and took it off and put it on my lap. This is a Fender Tone Master twin reverb amp, okay? And this is an amazing amp. Okay, I have the twin reverb version, and I have the deluxe reverb version. Now, you notice the difference? This is a transistor amp that sounds like a tube amp. Let me put this back here so you can see a little bit better. So I'm going to put it back here. Take a look. So that's what it looks like. It's a really great amp. I use this most of the time if I want to have a big sound on a gig, but don't want to carry that heavy Supro amp and break my back. And what's good about this amp, it's reliable and the tubes won't burn out. You know what I mean? And there's a few advantages. Like I didn't really look at on the Supro amp. You really don't have a line out. You have to put a mic on it, and you know on but this amp has a lot of advanced technologies that you don't have on other amps. Let me see what these messages are. I don't think people can send messages here. I think they could just join, but they can't send me messages. I don't know why. But anyway, sorry TikTok. I see you're watching, but you can't send a message to me. I'm sorry. I gotta see what my settings are. So let me see. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube right now. So please share my live stream. Check out my concerts and gigs coming up. I have a bunch coming up. A lot. I'm playing a lot in town in New York City. Then I'm going on tour in the West Coast. I'm going to Omaha, Denver. So in Omaha, I'm playing at the Jewel with Mitch Town and Jeffrey Johnson to do a few cuts off my new album. Then going to Denver for the Rocky Mountain Art Shop Guitar Festival. It's going to be huge this year. I heard there's probably going to be 500 to 1,000 people attending. Then I'm going to the West Coast to play in the Bay Area of San Francisco, that area. You know, Berkeley, doing a workshop. You know, San Francisco, San Jose. Then going up to Oregon and that area. Okay, so 4 different states. So come check me out. So look, let's plug this in. So before I do though, let me show you a couple of things. So this is like a regular. I used to have a Fender, a real Fender, twin reverb amp, but I got rid of it. You know why? It was so heavy and it always break. Like the same reason. Not like I proved myself because I got this same. It weighs the same much, the same as this Supro amp, actually. But I loved it. It had 2 speakers, a full sound. Everybody loves twin reverb amps, you know, and they do sound different because of the weight and the way they're built, you know. But this is close, man. It sounds so close to being a real tube amp. So look at this. It's still kind of heavy, but not that bad. It weighs just as much as my small Supro. It weighs about maybe 40 pounds, 37 pounds. And right now you can't find it on the Amazon store, but it'll show up again. But it'll cost you about, I think, 11 or 1,200 bucks this amp. So look at this. What's really cool about this amp, it's really modern. If you take a look at the back, okay, the tubes, you know, first the speakers are Celestion. I changed my speakers to, I'm a Celestion artist, so I got the 250 watt unbreakable speakers, everybody. So these are great speakers, man. So you cannot, Celestion says you can't break these speakers. So one day I'll try to do that. But so you can't blow these out, they said. So I like to have speakers that are powerful, but have a, you know, clean sound. That's why I want a clean sound in general. Because I mean, if I want overdrive, I'll get an overdriving amp like my Deluxe Reverb over there. The Hot Rod Deluxe actually does overdrive. So, but what's really good about this, it has modern technologies in the back. You can step up. If you can see this, you can see this probably in certain areas here. Look, I can show you on this camera. If you look carefully, there's different switches here that are available now. Okay, and what it is like you can actually this standby, of course, but then you have output power. See, so I always have them on a full output. Okay, because full output for me has the biggest sound. Okay, and the warmest sound. So I have this on full output. But you can put it out to 1 watt or to like full, which is like 85 watts, they say. This is a 200 watt amp, they say. Okay, it's 200 watts. And it has 2 channels. Combo amp with reverb vibrato. It has vibrato. We'll show you that part in a minute. What's really good about this, you can put a foot switch. I never use a foot switch. It has a line out. This is really important, everybody. A line out. So you don't have to worry about putting a mic in front of it. It has a digital line out. So when I'm recording, sometimes I can just put the line out and it has a really good sound into the recording studio. Okay, then you have these different kinds of, you know, cabinet simulations and all this. So I'll just turn it off, I guess. Okay, and then you know, the same, you know, you plug your cable here. I'm going to put that in a minute. Then it has, you know, the 2 full channels, everybody. 2 full channels. So let me see if I can show you this pretty well. It's pretty big, this amp. So it has 2 full channels. Let me move over here or here. Yes. See? And so this one has no reverb or effects. You know, this has a bright and all this other stuff here. And it has reverb. And then it has vibrato, the speed intensity. I never use the vibrato, but it sounds cool sometimes to use it. And you can plug a couple of inputs in here at the same time. It sounds great, okay? A really great amp. So you see, I have it on my leg. It's not going to break my leg because it's not that heavy. And because it's not tubes. You still have to be in shape, though. It's not that light. So let me plug it in. This is a little easier to plug in. On the Supro amp, I had to plug it in like this in the back, you know, which was kind of weird. This one, you just plug it straight in the back, and it's easy to reach right here. If I can see it here. So I plugged it in 1 second. Look at that. So I'm going to turn this on now. Here's the switch, I think. Yes. So the light is on. When it, if you can see the light is like red. It flashes like that. That means it's on standby. So I'm going to plug in my D'Angelico guitar. And I'm going to plug it into the normal vibrato channel because I like to use the reverb. And so let me just turn it up a little bit so it doesn't make that noise, because I have a problem with my pot. So listen to this. I'm going to turn it on now. Uh-oh, hold on. One problem. I got to plug my cable in. Hold on. I got too many things going on here. So I forgot to look. No sound. You know why? That's why you didn't have any sound. So let me do that. So this is the Fender Tone Master amp. It sounds just like a tube amp, man. I'm turning the reverb down just a little bit. So it sounds just like a tube amp. Okay, it's really a great amp. And if you have any questions, please send them to me. And I'd love to hear from you guys, especially on TikTok. It seems like I have my comments disabled. So this is the Fender Twin Reverb Tone Master that sounds just like a tube amp, guys and girls and everybody who's watching. Take a look at that. Really great amp. It's light. It sounds like a tube. So when I'm on gigs, I can crank this up. And what's really good is I have these Celestion copperback speakers that are 250 watts. And I deal with Celestion directly, and they told me you cannot break these speakers. So I love to hear that. So they're really great speakers on top of it. So yeah, so that's what this amp sounds like. Let me see. We'll move it over here. The sound is different than a tube amp, but it's still pretty good. I'm going to turn down the bass. I'm going to try to get a clear. So I'm just basically playing, just demoing the sound for you of this amp. It sounds really amazing. All transistor amps. So the advantages of having a transistor amp compared to a tube amp, you don't have to worry about it breaking all the time. That's the main advantage. The weight is amazing. It's half the weight. It's the same price, but half the weight. So you save money by getting these kind of amps. And you get a great sound too, and they're reliable. And I don't worry about the reverb breaking. I've actually rolled down this amp down the street a few blocks and never broke it. You know, it's not that light to carry down the street too easily. But you put on a dolly. If I put my amp, my tube amp on a dolly, it will actually literally probably break on me. So you don't want that to happen, everybody. So these are great amps. So let me show you the smaller version of this amp. So I'm going to get out my there's no noise when you turn it up because it's not tubes. The tubes actually light up and fire up, and then and then what happens is they make noise because of that sound. So you got to make sure you turn it down a little bit. So Denver. Oh, someone's asking me about Denver. So I'm going to be in Denver from September 8th to the 10th. So come on by. It's called the Rocky Mountain Archtop Guitar Festival. I'm going to have my Archtop Benedetto with me. It's an Archtop Guitar Festival. They have all the best guitar luthiers in the country coming to show their guitars, and there will be all the great players. There's going to be a lot of great players out there tonight, there too. So come check it out. Let me check out my other amp. So I'm going to put this amp. I'm going to plug this amp right here. The Fender Tone Master Twin Reverb amp. I'm going to put this away right now. I have just a couple more amps before I finish. So I unplugged that. It's really easy to unplug. I'm going to put this back here. Let me show you the smaller version. It's just it's like the same amp, but one speaker version. So you can take a look at these amps, everybody. Just go to my description on my YouTube video or my Facebook page. You can't do it on TikTok. You can actually hit the link and check out these amps on Amazon at my Amazon store. They're great amps, okay? So let me pull out this amp. So this is the small version. This is the Fender Deluxe Reverb amp. Okay, now let me hit the specs on this one for you guys so I can check it out and give you some accurate information about it. So let me go to, here it is. It's called the Tone Master Deluxe Reverb amp. It's the same amp. It actually has the same controls too, basically, but it doesn't have, oh yeah, it has a tremolo on it too. Sorry about that. It has tremolo, reverb. It's basically the same setup. Let me see what's different about it. Not much different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's something missing here. Oh yeah, this one doesn't have a middle tone control. It has treble and bass. See that? It has treble and bass only. So, but it doesn't have a middle. So that's the disadvantage. I like to have the middle too. I like the midtones and stuff like that. But it has the same exact setup as the Fender Twin Reverb Tone Master Deluxe I have. I changed the speaker on this one too. I put a Celestion Neo 250 watt speaker in there. I got to put that on the description actually. This is a great speaker. I forgot to put that in there. Okay, and then it has the same setup, all the same line out in the back, cab simulation, full power, to minimal power, etc. And this has how many watts? I forget. It doesn't have that many watts. It has 100 watts. The other one had 200 watts. Okay, and this weighs up really light. It's like 20 something pounds, I think. I can put it on my leg. It's solid state, so you don't have to worry about anything breaking. You understand? So let me plug it in for you. It's really a great amp. So I'm going to plug this in. Uh-oh. So the cable's back here. Yep. So it's easy to plug in the back too. The cable outlet is right here. So the cable, you can plug it in right here. See that? And it's a great amp, and it's easy to plug into the Supro amp to have, like, you have to have it put it through here under it. So that was a really difficult to do. So I think and I think with the Fender amps, the tube amps, the cable is built in, but not with this one. So this is what this looks like. Let me see if I can turn it this way so you can see a little bit better on the camera. So let me plug my guitar in. So this is, I'm going to turn it on. First, I turn the standby on. I turn the power on and have the standby off. And I usually plug it to the vibrato just because I want the reverb, a little bit of reverb. So now it warms up quick, these amps too. Like tube amps take a little while to warm up. So now it's already warmed up. Okay, let me turn the reverb down a little bit. And I use this amp a lot to teach my students and stuff. So it sounds just like a tube amp, everybody. Let me do a song for you. So here, that sounds so good, everybody. So yeah, I'm just playing through my Fender Deluxe Reverb Tone Master amp. Sounds exactly like a tube amp, everybody. But the advantage is it's about the same price. Oh, I think it's a little bit less. No, it's less than my Supro amps, a few $100s less. But the thing is, that's good about it is that you don't have to maintain this like this tube amps. They won't break on you, and they're great. They sound amazing and clean and lively, and so they're much more reliable. So this is the Deluxe Reverb amp. I'm going to show you the last amp of my comparison. So remember the advantages of transistor amps is they're reliable. That's the biggest advantage. And nowadays they can sound like a tube amp, so you don't have to worry about having a tube amp that can always break down on you. So that's the advantage. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to turn the standby off and then the power switch. And I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to show you the last formidable amp that I use a lot. And this is, you can actually get this next amp. And I sell a lot of these amps because I'm a Hendrickson artist too. This is the Hendrickson Bud 6 amp. Okay. And amp, take a look at this. Look how small it is. Someone was asking me, I take this on tour with me a lot. So the Hendrickson Bud 6 amp is made by Hendrickson out of Arvada. They're doing the Rocky Mountain Arts Top Guitar Festival I'll be playing at. Just go to my, follow me everywhere at Ron Jackson Music. You'll be able to find it. And you can find this amp, on my website, everywhere. But you can get this amp 5% off if you use the code Ron Jackson. Okay. Now the Hendrickson Bud 6, they don't sell it on Amazon or anywhere. You can just go on my link there and go directly. Yeah, the Bud 6 is amazing. Yes, Abele. Yeah, so if you go to Hendrickson, you can get 5% off anything at HendricksonAmps.com, Amplifiers.com, or I think it's one of those. You'll find them. And so this amp weighs 13 pounds. It actually it comes in a carrying case. I'll go check it. I'll go grab the case in a minute. I didn't bring that out. But and I take this on tour. I just throw this in my big suitcase, and it weighs 13 pounds. Okay, and it has 120 watts. It has 2 full channels. That means full EQ, full on 2 channels. You can put a mic or a guitar. You can put XLR or a 1/4-inch cable on each of these inputs. So it's amazing, man. And I resisted buying one of these because the cost is expensive. But you get what you pay for. I realize you have to have good quality stuff if you want to be a good quality musician. And you have to have the best equipment. So this costs about $1,300, but it's worth it. I've done so many gigs that paid this amp off. I did a gig last week to pay the amp off, no problem. So it's a great amp. So you got to check this out. So I'm going to plug this in. And what's really good about this, I was in Jamaica playing, and I brought this amp. I threw it in my suitcase, and I was able to plug this in. And what was really good about it is I wanted to play some music. So it has Bluetooth built in. It has everything on this amp too. So when I'm on tour, I can plug this through the sound system. So I'll use this as a monitor if they have a terrible guitar amp or an amp I don't want to use. And then it has a line out. It has all kinds of stuff in here. The tweeter is on. It's just amazing, this amp. You can put headphones in here to practice with. So it has Bluetooth everything in this amp, man. It's just, really incredible amp. And I'll plug it in. It's easy to plug into, just like this. It's reliable. It's never broken. I've dropped this maybe the bag before. It's never broken. I've had this for 4 or 5 years. It's worth it. And see how small it is? See that little thing? You can hardly see it. Now let me play through it. You'll hear the sound. I had a gig the other day. The guy said, "Don't bring a big amp," and I played with a band with this thing. Without going through the sound system, and it sounded amazing. So I use this amp like maybe 75% of the time, because most of the gigs I have, if it's a small place, I won't bring the amp. I'll bring my Deluxe Reverb if it's not too much trouble. Because the bigger the amp you have, the harder it is to get around with all this stuff. So let me see. Let me play something through this amp. So I'm going to turn it on. I'll put the reverb up. It sounds great already. I'll put it here. Let me turn the reverb down a little bit. So this is the amp here. I might put it like let me try to raise this a little bit so you can see it. Just check a look here. That's what it looks like. See it there? I'll put the camera down a little bit so you can see it better. See how small that is? It's really a great amp. Just go to the link on my bio to check it out, and you could, if you want to get one, just go to use my code Ron Jackson to save 5%. Look at this. hear it, guys. So let me play you a song with that. So you hear that? It sounds really good, this little amp here. The Henriksen Bud 6. Now, don't get me wrong, they have bigger amps, but I use this. I only own one amp from them, and I'm one of their artists. And this thing sounds so amazing for the size. And it's never broken. It's very reliable. And they call their amps the jazz amps. You know, I don't know. You know, I like that name, so it's very catchy. It's kind of jazzy sounding, but I like, you know, my preference is tube amps, like I told you. But this is a great alternative too, and I use this all the time because it sounds jazzy too, and it's only transistors. So this is the Henriksen Amplifier Company. Check them out. I work with them a lot. They're running the Rocky Mountain Arts Guitar Festival, which I'll be playing at very soon. And so this is the last amp I'm showing you today, everybody. 13 pounds. It's like one of the best amps you can own. And all these amps are important to have because, you know, you need to have good equipment, good amps. You want to sound good, you got to have good equipment. There's no way around it. So I'm Ron Jackson. You know, you can check all this out at the replay on my YouTube and Facebook pages. It's all about the comparison of amps, tube amps, and transistor amps. So I love tube and transistor amps. You just got to get good quality transistor amps if you're going to use it, like the Henriksen amps or the Fender Tonemaster Deluxe Tonemaster series of amps that sound like tubes. And then the Fender tube amps are great too, and the Supro amps are amazing. I love all these amps, you know, and I prefer tubes, but when I don't have the tubes, I have great alternatives. So check out everything on my list, on my description of all these amps. Go to the stores if you can find them. You can't find Henriksen amps on stores. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee. You could try them at home. If you don't like it, you get your full refund back on the Henriksen guitar amps like this. So go check them out. And hey, let me see what else is. Someone made some comments. Please stop in Grand Junction. We can have a meal. I can donate you some of my homegrown medicine you'll love. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great amp. Por Vida. I can't say your first name. Yeah, Por Vida. Send me a message, everybody, if you want to contact me. It's easy to find me on my website. It's ron@ronjacksonmusic.com. If you want to email me directly, you know, if you want to donate, it's Ron Jackson Music. Or, you know, if you're watching on YouTube, you know, I have Super Chat and all the other stuff you could donate to. But I really appreciate you watching my live stream. So these are amp comparisons, transistor or tube. Tubes win, but they're both great now because some amps sound amazing that sound like tubes, like the Fender Tonemaster technology. Go check these out on my links on the bio here, or on the description on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're watching on TikTok, you can watch the replay. I got to get going now. I got other things to do. And again, follow me everywhere at Ron Jackson Music. Come see my shows at Ron Jackson Music. Ron Jackson. You check out my merch and books and everything else. And my Amazon store at Ron Jackson Music. And we'll see you guys very soon. I really appreciate you guys. And thanks a lot for watching my amp comparison, tubes or transistors. And have a great day. Bye-bye.